morning, and welcome to cloudy and overcast Winnipeg. At least it's not raining, but that's all right. Probably be okay if it was. Now, the weather office is predicting 60% chance of showers today, so I don't know how things are going to go on the e-bike or the scooter. I did get out yesterday for about half an hour on the e-bike, but I was wearing my jacket, or what you might call a windbreaker, and I was cold. I was chilly. Anyway, I'm probably going to have to start wearing my heavy coat. And I think it was about 19 degrees. It wasn't that cold. So what's it going to be like when it gets down to about 10, I was thinking, so as long as there's no snow and ice on the road, I can keep going. But if it's only 2-3 degrees, well, that's maybe not going to be so much fun. Anyhow, today's plan is to get these parts that we nipped off yesterday cleaned up and glued together, and there's not that many of them. I'm thinking maybe some of these smaller ones here, I'm going to want them painted a different color, because this part here is going to be basically the 19, so that it will match everything else that's in this area. And I got a little tiny fly here. I wonder if I can scare him over to the fly zapper. Okay. Maybe he's one of the crew members. Yeah. I remember I was watching Jim Steen when he was working on his hood. I think it was the hood, and he had a little ant came crawling up onto his model table, or I think it was actually on the model if I remember right. Anyway, I jokingly made a comment and I said, "It looks like the crew members are trying to escape." Anyway, okay. Let's get back to what we're talking about here. All right, so this part here is going to go right here, and so I'm going to want to have it the 19 so that it'll match the rest of this barbette, and at least that's the plan. But I'd like to have the detail that's on the top of it a different color. First is we've got to paint our life raft, and I thought I had some life rafts that were already finished and ready to go somewhere, but maybe I don't. Maybe I used them all up. Okay. No sunrise over the bridge this morning. Well, what do you expect? It was cloudy, right? And enough about the weather. Enough about the bikes. Let's recompose here and see if we can do something. Got to clean this stuff up first. Okay, we have our parts cleaned up, more or less. Looking in the monitor, I can see the odd little bit of, you might say, flashing or something, but I think it's going to be okay once everything's glued together and painted. Now, of course, the ladder and the hose reel are already painted and ready to go. Anyway, I think I'm going to use the extra thin quick setting here for these parts. There's not that much gluing, is there? Okay, I'm wondering if maybe I should do a bit of a dry run here just to make sure it's going to fit. Oh yeah. Okay. Now we shouldn't need a whole lot. Now this evaporates really fast, so if I can just manage to get some down in the holes there, this is going to stick together. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe if I did a little bit of sanding afterwards, I should just see if I can get some to go down into the seam there. Yeah, that should stick together pretty good. Oh, I just heard my mailbox. I got mail. Instant rebates. Well, I found that most stuff from Manitoba Hydro is legitimate. It's not a scam. They're pretty good. However, okay. So I guess it doesn't matter which way they go because the pegs are going to go into the oh, there goes our black truck again. Okay, the pegs are going to go in here and also into the top of the superstructure somewhere, I think. Yeah, I see little holes there. Okay, let's maybe the extra thin would work better than this. This is maybe just too quick setting. Yeah, I think I should have used the extra thin. Yeah, this quick setting, it just doesn't have the melding properties that the extra thin has. Just let me get the extra thin going here. We'll do this again. I find that the quick setting works really well if you were to, apply it afterwards. Probably don't need any more, but okay, for sure it's going to stick those together. Well, let's try not to get fluffies from the cloth here into the part. Okay, I think that's pretty square. All right. Now we're going to have to, paint this, and I like to do 2 different shades of gray, I believe. Let's just check and see, what did we do with the other ones? A couple of moments ago, a funny thing happened. I was looking all over the superstructure on the, where I had glued some of these onto the sides, and like on the bulkheads, and I couldn't find them. And I remembered it wasn't this ship, it was the Rodney, and possibly the Hood. Anyway, all right, we get there, get our catapult out of the way here. And I think what I had done is I had painted the life rafts with the 66. And it looks like then I made some sort of an attempt to bring out the detail with the panel line accent color. I don't know if I'm going to do that on this or not. I'm very careful now. Don't bend your railing that you worked so hard to get on nice and straight and have managed not to break so far. Now, because there is going to be a ladder going up the side here, that must mean that this must be some sort of a deck. So I'm going to paint the sides the 19, these smaller parts the 66, and maybe the inside of the life raft something else. And the top I'm going to do the 77 so that it'll match the decking on everywhere else it is 77. Okay, that's the plan. Okay, what I have done here is I've taken a piece of the C sprue and I've flattened it out along the bottom there using one of Chris's files, and my hope is that I should be able to glue it right on the bottom like this, and I can use this piece of sprue as a handhold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some thin right there. I don't think we're going to need very much. Okay, so that's actually way too much, isn't it? I always say don't need very much, and then what do? I go crazy with it. Okay, now let's just let that sort of start to cure there, if it will. I'm just trying to let go of it. See if it'll stand there all by itself. It's kind of sticking to my finger. You know what, I should really get the helping hands going here to just sort of hold it steady. It almost stays. It almost stays. Let's just put a little pressure on this here. Okay, there. Alright, now we're going to take one of Gabe's swabs. Oh, it's slumping, it's slumping, it's slumping. Push it back. Okay, let's quickly get some curing agent going here. I would have thought that would have set up a lot faster than this. Maybe because I had too much CA. Okay, I do believe we've got it now. Okay, let's just give that a couple of minutes, and it should work as a handhold. And then after I'm ready to to remove it, I'll just snap it off. And it doesn't matter if it's all marked on the inside there, because we're not going to be seeing that anyway. Okay, here's the plan. We've got our paints all shaken up just a few minutes ago. I'm hoping that this is going to be glued on there strong enough now, so when I'm handling this, it's not going to come off. And I'm going to use the top of my microset bottle here as a reference, so that if I hold it in this area right here, I'll know that I'm always keeping it basically in the field of view. Now, I don't think this was thinned, so we're going to see how it's going to go here. How's that look? I'm pretty sure that's all cured now. And let's zoom in a little bit. No, we don't need to paint right here. This is going to be up against the barbette. And I don't want to put it on too thick. I'm probably going to have 2 coats. Okay, because if I get it on too thick, I'm going to lose the detail, aren't I? And I'm not going to do it a whole bunch of times. Once it's... Well, that's too thick. Well, that will evaporate. How does it look there? I'm just trying to get the light so it reflects. Yes, that's not a good idea. It's starting to dry already. See that? No, I don't need to do here. Let's get that excess off of there. UK Jason is probably just cringing because he's sort of a paint expert. At least in my opinion he is. Okay, so we'll let that dry. And this is going to be the only place where we use it. Look at that, it's drying already. Can you see that? See if I can get it to reflect. Yeah. It's almost like I didn't paint, but I did. Just trying to get this seam here so that when we paint it, it'll get all the little burrs off of there. I believe that this is the top of it that I just sanded, and you can see the positioning pin here that has to go into the top of the superstructure thing that we just painted. Okay, I think I pretty much got this. It looks a lot better than it did a few minutes ago. And okay, this one is going to be the 66. Now, this piece here, I don't know how I'm going to grab hold of it because there is no positioning pin. What you're seeing right here that I'm just touching now is not actually a pin. That actually sits right on the top of the superstructure. You'll see when we actually glue it down how it's supposed to go. And I was noticing that it's not quite at the right angle. I notice you notice how the back here is kind of beveled, but it's not beveled correct. At least I don't think it is, but nobody's probably going to notice anyway. It's probably going to meld into position. Okay, no, I don't think I need to do anything with these. I already did trim some of the flashing off originally when I first was working on them. I think it was yesterday. Now, don't worry, Chris. This is not going to hurt your file. Maybe I'll just do it up here where it's probably not going to get used too much, just in case you're worried. This metal is a lot softer than your file is, so. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that the ends are flush, so that when I grab onto the positioning pin, it won't let go. It might be better if I was to grab it this way. Might be just a little stronger. That way I can paint all around very, very carefully, and I don't think this will fall off. At least that's the plan. Now that sort of makes them, both of these tongs or whatever you call it, the same length. Otherwise, if one is a lot longer than the other, it's not going to grab on as good. Yeah, I think that's going to be all right. Once again, that's the plan. Okay, here is my thinking on this now. I had originally thought I could take a pin, or maybe something like this might even be better, because that gives me something better to hold on to. And I was going to just shove it down into this part right here, And then I thought, I wonder if I could, maybe it was to heat the end of it, it would shove in good. And then I realized, well, and the reason I want to make a hole first is because if I try to shove this into something that thin, it's going to spread and break. And so what I'm thinking now is, if I was to maybe go in right here, where I'm touching right now on the end there, because that's going to be down on the top of the part that we painted. So if I could make a hole right down right in here, and I'm just sort of eyeballing this right now. Don't want to make it any bigger than I have to, but I want to make it big enough. I'm gonna try this one right here. Get this out of the way. Okay, now for those of you who have only been watching for the last couple of years, I think it was way back when I was doing the Bismarck, I made this drill up. It's a kit from Tamiya. Some of you actually have one of these, and push this pin in, and it sort of locks the chuck so she can tighten it up. And it looks like a toy, and it is a lot of plastic, but the gears are nylon. It actually has a bearing, like for the thrust bearing. There's actually a real ball bearing in there, and it is much better than it looks. And of course, it's battery operated. Hey, I got 2 different kind of batteries in there. I wonder which one's going to run out first, Duracell or Energizer. Okay. All right, let's get the macro lens on here and see if we can make a hole in there. Now I'm thinking maybe I should try and make a little pilot hole right in the center there. You know what? Once again, I've got the wrong glasses on here. I almost need somebody standing beside me to tell me what to do. Like, hey Ron, change your glasses. Now, does that look like I'm getting it in the center? I'm just eyeballing this now. I'm not using my microscope. Okay, now I don't know if that's gonna help or not. I wonder if this is too big. Hey, it's not true. I'm thinking maybe that's too big. Okay, now let's get that other thing here that we were going to try. Is that going to fit in there? No, you know what? I think I made it too big. I'm going to find a smaller one and just go, unless I was to nip the point off that, well, that'd be stupid, wouldn't it? Or maybe if I was to go a little bit deeper. No, I lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, that works. Sure, that's going to work. I can knock it off, but I think, yeah, I think that's going to be all right. Okay, let's just hold this down here. This morning, for a while, I was watching Scott, Aussie Trekkie, and he was using a Dremel to help himself make a model from scratch. Now, this is going to, the way this is going to turn, it's going to be wanting to throw the debris up into my face. So I'm just going to sort of move off to the side here a bit when I do this. Okay, we've shortened it. Now, it should wedge into that hole a little better. Because what was happening before, the point of this thing was bottoming out on me. So I'm just going to take Chris's file and just gently get rid of that burr. Okay, Chris, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to use your file. I'll use my Big old shop file here. I suppose I could have dulled the whole thing with this file, couldn't I? But that wouldn't have been as much fun. I couldn't have got to use my Dremel. I just want to get rid of the burr here. So I'm having trouble rotating this in my fingers. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Alright, let's try it now. I suppose now it's too short. How easy is it to knock that off? Too easy. Darn. Okay, I used the Dremel grinder and I've narrowed it back out again. Okay, that actually feels pretty good. I don't think that's going to come off with the brushing it with a paintbrush, and that was the whole idea. Okay, so alright, now we're ready to do our 66. Okay, a bit of time has passed here, and two things. Firstly, I'm not going to give this a second coat. I think it's going to be okay the way it is. And the second thing is, I just realized I forgot to clean out my paintbrush. Well, Windex works really good on this XF paint, as I've said so many times. We'll fix that, not to worry. I'm gonna call her quits for this afternoon. So thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we're gonna see yous tomorrow.